We'll start out by saying that that I met you on the set of Inoperable a couple years ago.
Hmm.
So it's not just a coincidence that we're talking. We've kind of worked together for a little bit over the years, promoting your stuff. So no one thinks that I'm not being an ethical journalist.
No, no, no. And I saw your name. I was like, oh, cool, Mike. Yeah,
uh,
inoperable, fun times.
how long have you been in the entertainment business?
Gosh, since well, I've been writing screenplays since I was 18. But I started working on my first feature when I was 23. Yeah. So that's wow. Then I have to date myself. Um, so let's say close to 25 years.
What made you want to get into the industry?
Just love movies, you know. I liked horror films growing up. The power they had to, scare people, and that was just fascinating to me. And then I also like action films too, and so I just wanted to tell stories. I mean, when I was a kid, I drew comics, little comic strips. I called them comic books. It was probably like 3 or 4 pages each issue, so to speak. But Spider-Man and Star Wars and stuff like that. So I moved from little comic books. By the way, I was not a very good artist, so my stuff would not hold up today. But I moved from little comics book strips to kind of short stories, and into some novellas I wrote, and then finally to screenplays.
Over the past, I think it's been like the past year, I've seen your name popping up like almost everywhere. There's usually like a movie every couple months that's got your name attached to it. Has there been like this sudden boom where you're just involved with everything?
It was weird. It's been like the past 2 or 3 years, and I was getting involved with a lot of things, and it just so happened that a lot are coming out this year. So I don't remember when exactly it started picking up a lot, but in 2015 I did Clown Town, and then right shortly after that, I helped a friend with Edgar Allan Poe's Lighthouse Keeper that actually filmed before that. But from Inoperable until now, it's been like a lot going on. It seems it just so happened that way. I had, in fact, last year, March of 2017, I had 2 movies filming at the same time. One in Michigan and one in the Mojave Desert in California. So that was I think that was a first for me, and I was like, whoa, things are picking up.
Sorry about that, Jeff.
No worry.
Um, Recently, there's been a very familiar face that has hit has been hitting some posters and some trailers. Now, how did you find, or who found Kovacs? How did this happen? Because that is just amazing.
Totally. So, Renee Perez and I had made a movie a few years ago, The Burning Dead, also known as Volcano Zombies, which is the better title. But it didn't start with a B, unfortunately, and so it got released as The Burning Dead. So Renee and I made a movie, and then, we were just talking late last year about, possibly doing something else together. And at first it was going to be a horror film, and I knew he had made this movie with this guy, Robert Kovacs. He had made a Western with him, and I kind of said, we're talking about doing a horror film or something, and then finally I said, why don't we do an action revenge film with this guy? And he said, oh, I'd love to do that. That's like been a dream of mine. So that's kind of how Death Kiss was born. I knew Renee had already made one movie with the guy, and it just went from there.
When I spoke to Chris Hahn, who's appeared in some of your movies,
Hmm.
he mentioned working with Kovacs a little bit. And, he's from Hungary.
Yes.
He said that his English isn't that great, but he just has such an expressive face that he really doesn't have to say much to give off that Bronson vibe.
True, and I was watching a Bronson movie not long ago, the Mechanic. I don't think I'd ever seen the original Mechanic, and he doesn't say a lot in the movie. He's one of those guys that I used to hear stories. People like Bronson or Eastwood would sometimes go through scripts and cross out lines.
Hmm.
Whereas most actors want more lines, they would cross out lines because they thought that their expression said more than any line could ever say. So yeah, he's one of those guys. Very, has great expression, but yeah, English is like his third language, uh, and he's getting better at it. But yeah, we dubbed him in Death Kiss. It was the director's decision. I kind of wanted to go with his actual voice, but the director wanted it to be more American, and so we
Hmm.
dubbed him in Death Kiss. But the new one we're doing, Escape from Death Block 13, we plan to have his actual voice in it.
Uh, for the future, do you see a lot more roles coming his way for titles that you're associated with?
Totally. I mean, he's a great guy. Um, he always brings me a bottle of like Hungarian wine when he comes over here, and so I appreciate that. And no, he's just a really hard worker. I mean, on Death Kiss, I saw him trudging through snow like a big stump, threw it over his. It wasn't a small. This was like a big stump. Like threw it over his shoulder, started carrying it away because we needed a stump somewhere for somebody to sit on or something. So the guy is a workhorse, and he's just an all-around good guy.
What's been your favorite film that you've been attached to over the past couple of years? Do you have one that really stands out, or are they all just kind of a part of your soul right now?
Um, there's something about every movie I like that I've done. It's kind of like everything I've done. Making movies is too hard to not like something about each one. So I've never tried to do a movie just whatever for the money or whatever. There's always been something that attracted me to it. But I do have a few favorites. Um, The Russian Bride, which is coming out in a few months. We're close to signing a domestic deal on that one. That's a good kind of scary mansion, big scary English Tudor mansion type movie. The director is really talented on that one. That's one I like. My Paul Bunyan movie, Axe Giant: The Wrath of Paul Bunyan, is a personal favorite just because I felt that, I came up with that storyline and just thought it was so unique and, and kind of different at the time. Toy Box, which just came out with Denise Richards, is a fun one. Clown Town, my clown slasher film, I like that one. And Death Kiss is, a lot of fun too. It's one of the cooler. I like to say it's one of the cooler films I've done. Everybody it just seems to like resonate with people.
With the actors that have been appearing in your films, do you find that there's something that guys like Chris Hahn and Kovacs can give you that just your regular Hollywood types can't?
Yeah, I mean they're so real and very motivated and just they give it their all. Sometimes Hollywood, there's great Hollywood actors. I've worked with some great actors here too, but sometimes just those guys bring a lot of realism and authenticity and just work ethic to the roles. I mean, Chris Hahn is another guy that has a tremendous work ethic, and I've done several movies with him and hope to do many more.
For those people that are trying to break into Hollywood that are having a hard time, 'cause it is a bit of a struggle, what are your words of wisdom to those people that just want to make it in some capacity in the business?
uh, Make sure that you absolutely want to do this business, or make sure you absolutely want to work in this business, because it's tough. There are no guarantees. It's a hard road. It's no matter if you're an actor or a writer or director or producer, it doesn't, it gets a little easier. I mean, the good thing about, I guess, my career, because I did have a lot of movies come out, and then it seemed to open doors. That's why I've had a lot of movies come out the past year or so. It seemed to open doors. People wanted to meet with me. I got a lot of emails from people that wanted to meet, and then some of those opened up opportunities. So it kind of created momentum. So it's like momentum creates more momentum, but you have to do a lot of that yourself. You have to, it's just really about persistence. I mean, I've always said that from when I was younger is, be persistent without being annoying. Whether it be getting scripts to people or auditioning or, whatever, just be persistent and try to do something to move your career forward every day. Too many people move to LA and they want to be, actors or writers or whatever, and they realize they need to hold down a job. It's expensive out here. And, I tell them, do something every day to move your career forward so you just don't get stuck in that rut.
When it comes to filmmaking in other states besides California, I know that Florida's kind of made it difficult for filmmakers. And you have firsthand experience with Inoperable that was filming in Dade City. Is it even viable anymore to film in Florida, or is the best option Atlanta or Hollywood, or even up into Canada and Vancouver? Are those more viable options than the Sunshine State right now?
I think so. I mean, Inoperable we did in Florida because, the director was there, Chris Chapman, who directed it, and he was the lead producer, and it was his idea for that. I helped him with the script and helped him produce it, but he was based there in Tampa, and so we filmed that outside of Tampa, and that was he found a great abandoned hospital location that you visited, I believe. So, that was really the main reason we shot there. A lot of stuff is going to Georgia. I have not yet shot there. However, I am exploring something currently. I'm talking to a guy there about putting something together that might go there. Ohio's got incentives. I just scouted Mississippi last week for something that might shoot Mississippi. And of course, California, where, I'm based in Los Angeles, which is, not necessarily the best for incentives, but it's just, there's so much, so much talent and crew here that, and a lot of cool locations. And of course the weather, you always never have to worry about something being rained out, which you do. I made 3 movies in South Carolina, and, occasionally you have to worry, oh my gosh, we're going to get rain today. It's not going to match. And there's a lot of times there's that concern, whereas in California, that's almost never a concern. But, yeah, I guess I don't personally know the Florida's tax, film tax situation, but I know that for Inoperable, I don't think we qualified for anything. And I still think that might be the case. You don't hear about a lot of stuff going to Florida.
Mm-hmm. Even entire sections of Florida streets are being built in Louisiana because it's cheaper to build an entire town than it is to actually film here. So yeah, it's unfortunate that we're losing a lot of those incentives because we have a lot of great actors here. Some of them were in Inoperable, and have since moved to Louisiana because that's where the jobs are.
And a lot of times these, states will have one incentive and then it'll go away and then it'll come back and go, so hopefully it'll come back there. So,
I hope
South
so.
Carolina used to have a good incentive and they lost it, and same with North Carolina. So
it doesn't make my job easier since I'm stuck here in Tampa to try to cover any film because there's never any shooting here.
Yeah, well, I don't know how long is it for you to get to Atlanta or parts of Georgia where they film.
Usually, CBS flew me out there earlier this year for Hellfest, so it's usually nothing. It's like 45 minutes. But if I have to drive, it's like a whole maybe 6 hours or so. So yeah, it depends on, are we going to give people enough coverage to warrant us coming out, or is it going to be something that's even going to be noticed by anybody? Is sometimes the case.
Right.
Like if it's a small independent 10-minute film, do I want to spend 3 days traveling for this? Unfortunately,
that would probably be no.
Yeah. Unfortunately, since I work for free, so it's I have to take off my day job to do these things. But it's always up to, can I cover it enough where it'll be worth their time having me there. Like when I came out for Inoperable, I made a whole day out of it. I got to film your team pouring a bucket of cow into well, no, it was a bucket of cow into like a trough. That's what I got to film that day, and I got to watch Chris Hahn being extremely intimidating, and then your guys putting meat into a quote-unquote refrigerated room that wasn't refrigerated and enjoying that smell.
That was one of the more disgusting days on set that I think I've been a part of.
It was certainly memorable, and that hospital, it was eerie, even though it had been used up until quite recently. It's surprising how quickly something can look dilapidated as soon as you just take the furniture out.
Yeah, no, it still was kind of creepy. Some people were creeped out.
Yeah, there was.
Down.
Yeah, it's out in the middle of nowhere in Dade City. There's nothing around but just nothing. It's the most kind of backwoods part of the Tampa area that you can think of.
Yeah, those cow guts were one of the most gross and horrifying things on set. The smell was bad, and people were kind of gagging, and Danielle, I don't think really liked being there, but it made for some realism, I guess. And I remember saying, because they were going to be stuck in these Tupperware containers, and I said, take them out, splash blood across this room. This is supposed to be a freezer, and we're making a horror film, because they were all in these Tupperware containers. They just looked too clean to me. I said, we need blood in this movie. And so I don't know. I think I made the right call on that, but some people were kind of grossed out.
And I saw Chris Hahn just like go hands deep into a bucket of the stuff and just pull it apart, just the fat from the meat, just making a good scene out of it, I guess is the most tactful way of putting it.
Yeah, I got some good pictures with Chris when he's holding up some I don't know, bull testicles or whatever nasty things were.
As far as your slate of what's coming up that people can actually get their hands on, what can they look forward to going into the Halloween season that they could see either on video demand or on DVD?
So I had 2 movies come out in September. So Ouija House with an all-star cast. Misha Barton, Tara Reid, Dee Wallace, Carly Schroeder, Chris Mulkey, Tiffany Shepis, several other screen queens. That came out September 4th, so that's available on DVD and digital. Toy Box just came out a little over a week ago with Denise Richards, Misha Barton, Matt Mercer, made by the same people that did Clown Town. And that's a fun movie. That got a lot of press because of Denise Richards and Real Housewives. Death Kiss, of course, October 2nd on digital, and then December 4th, I believe, for physical, for DVD. Oh, Strange Nature also comes out on Tuesday. That's a cool film, ecological horror thriller, kind of in the vein of Prophecy or something like that. I call it Erin Brockovich Goes to Frogtown. But it's this makeup effects whiz friend of mine, Jim Ojala, wrote and directed that one. It's kind of a pet project of his that had been germinating for many years, and I helped him with some post-production money and consulted a little bit on the rough cut when I saw it and helped him sell it. And that got a theatrical release. It just played in theaters. It's playing in the Twin Cities Film Fest coming up in Minnesota. I think it's playing in a New York Film Festival coming up. And then, but that comes out Tuesday on digital and DVD. And that's a fun, it's something different too. It's not your typical slasher film or ghost story, which I appreciated, about it. It was a little bit different. That was another reason I kind of wanted to get involved with that one. And I'll be filming, in October. We filmed the rest of Escape from Death Block 13 with Robert Kovacs, and returning to action to kick some more ass. So that's in October. And then, of course, I mentioned Russian Bride. We're close to closing a domestic deal. That probably won't be out until January or February, though. But that's one I like a lot.
All right, Jeff. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day to talk to me about your career and your films. it's been very nice to see your name just like coming up almost like every day in my inbox. So it was a pleasure dealing with you on Inoperable, and I wish you all the best, and I can't wait to see what else comes out over the next year from you.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I'm just trying to keep busy, and I've got more scripts and stuff in the works. So trying to do more horror and also a couple more action films as well too. So I'm just trying to keep it going. And thank you for taking the time to interview me. I appreciate it. And I'll keep reading your stuff too.